Chapter 6. Homecoming. Later that evening, he would pull himself out of his trance and find himself sitting at a small table behind a house, greenish-clear drink in hand, gazing out at fields of waving turquoise grass. The air was cleaner there, taking a deep breath and looking around surprisedly. He noticed the thick ozone scent had dissipated in favor of a slightly musty one, presumably originating from the field he was facing. The drink was good, slightly spicy and based on some sort of plant, but with a burn on the way down that indicated a not unwelcome level of alcohol. He finished it and rose to turn back to the house. The air had taken on a deepening chill that brought his exhaustion to the fore. Unlike the cantina and most of the organic architecture of the city, the oddly out-of-place house was mostly squared at the edges and featured thick glass windows and doors designed for humans, who were more averse to shifts in temperature than their Manisae hosts. The door slid open noiselessly, and Al stepped through the threshold only to find himself faced with an overwhelming sense of calm and familiarity. He was standing in the same study that featured so heavily in his memories. No, his father's memories. It was becoming more difficult to separate them now. Al's turned and moved to the wall shelf adjacent to the desk as if by habit. There, in pride of place, was the statuette. Intricate inlaid patterns adorned it on all sides. The weight of it surprised him as he lifted it from its position. It sat heavily in his hands as he stood there, running his fingers along the designs. The small flecks of various minerals glinted in the office light and looked very much like the rough rocks he had observed in the garden. But its texture was polished finely, either by machine or ages of handling. It did appear quite old, certainly older than the city. Oz didn't recognize the pattern as anything he had seen on Earth. Perhaps it was an artifact from the Manisae homeworld, a topic no human had been able to uncover details about. But that wouldn't explain the local texture of the stone. Al sat on the desk chair while cradling the object, and closed his eyes. It seemed in his mind that he was still looking down at it as he sat there as if it were something he had done many times before. Except in his memory, he saw his own hands, not his father's, grasping the statue and twisting it in half. The audible click startled him, and his eyes shot open. Oz looked down into his hands and found the statue had separated across the middle along a previously hidden seam. He gently sat it down on the desk in its new arrangement and slowly lifted the top portion. Gradually and smoothly it slid away from the bottom half, revealing a nearly opaque black crystal point seated snugly into the concealed void. The crystal was not unlike the crystals that his father had left for him and his siblings, though this one was darker, and had a different cut to it, more like obsidian than the smoky quartz of the one he still had in his rucksack. There was nothing else. Turning the case slowly in his hands, he examined the underside of both the top and the bottom halves. Thankfully, the crystal was embedded snugly into it and didn't fall out. No legible engraving, nothing to indicate its significance or purpose, and nothing in his mind floated to the surface to reveal anything else. Al set the pieces down and prepared to lift the crystal point from its mooring, but such a sense of unease came upon him that he drew back his hand, banishing the desire to touch the crystal at all. He replaced the capstone and twisted the box back together. Then, making sure to place it back exactly where he had found it, he replaced it to its position on the shelf, making sure to match the angle of the base to the imprint in the dust, as if he didn't want to be caught having moved it. That night, Al's dreamt of his mother, not as he remembered her, but as his father remembered her. He couldn't remember her looking so old, or as excited as she did in his dream. She was talking animatedly to him about something, moving about the study and gesticulating elaborately, but her voice sounded muffled like it was from another room. He couldn't make out her words, however hard he tried to focus. He woke in his bed in a cold sweat. The movement triggered dim floor lights. Al stumbled out of bed toward his wardrobe, changed drowsily into something dry that smelled like a lack of airflow and dust, and rolled back under the covers, hoping that the dream wouldn't resume where it left off as the light faded out and the darkness enveloped him once more.